All right, can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Josh? All right, sounds good. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Looks like I don't have to let anybody in, which is awesome. All right, should be able to see the presentation now, I hope. We'll go ahead and get started. That way we're not wasting your guys' time, and if people filter in, that's great. Thanks for joining us, joining me tonight. You might want to grab a pen and paper. Not a lot of stuff, but we've got some announcements and some things to talk about. There is going to be a short quiz in the middle of the thing. It's really for attendance, so keep your phone handy if you want to take care of it right now. The first thing is an announcement for the Academy Sports and Outdoors promotion. We do this every year. It's really every season that they give us a 20% discount coupon for all of our families. If you want to send that to your family, the link to the coupon is tsc1983.com/ASOS21. That's Academy Sports and Outdoors Spring 21. It's fairly easy to remember. But make sure that you put that in your Team Snap or something so everybody can download it. It's good for the entire purchase of that day. Jerica will probably be there, and Charlie will probably be there, and I might try to be there on that Saturday, even though I'll probably be running licensing courses. But next thing is Governor's Cup. Just a reminder that if your team is playing Division III or below, or actually just below Division III is fine, that we're going to require you to play in the Governor's Cup for a few reasons. A lot of the reasons are money, but also I've had complaints from clubs in the last 2 tournaments that I've been the director for that why aren't your teams showing up to play in your own tournament? And I think that's a good point. So if you have any questions about it or concerns, let me know. Please register if you haven't already by April 18th. And just like any other tournament, just put it as pay by check later, and then we'll take care of that for you. Some weather policy reminders. Remember that if it is, if it is above 105 degrees with the heat index, if it is below 32 degrees with the wind chill, or if there's a tornado, please do not have a practice or play soccer. That doesn't matter if you're at Sunflower or anywhere else, still please don't have practice. All right, next thing. Some sportsmanship stuff to remember. Everybody, your players, your parents, and you're responsible for everybody. And if there's a problem, you're going to be the person that I come to. I want to make sure that everybody is responsible for their own families and parents. We did have a couple of problems at Heartland in the fall. Just be a model of good behavior. Remember that that this is grassroots competitive soccer, and it's not just your players that you're a role model for, but also the other teams that you're playing, and even the referees, because a lot of times they're younger people as well. So just be a good role model, keep perspective. And I throw this slide in again for that perspective. Sunflowers League is down here, Heartland is right here, and obviously there are 7 divisions at Heartland, so you got to work your way through 7 of those. And then we start getting into the regional stuff. The Midwest Regional is what it used to be called. Now it's the USYS Midwest Conference, and then the national leagues with the Elite Clubs National League and the US Youth Soccer National League. And then above that, there's MLS Next with the academies and some other top-leveled clubs in the nation, and the Girls Academy for the girls side. So, even you guys are either down here or probably right around here. There's still a long way to go before we're talking about Division I college or professional athletes. Keep that in perspective. It's all about development, and not just technical, tactical development, but also personal development as well. Referees is where we have a lot of the other problems. I've coached for a long time. I get where you guys are coming from. It gets frustrating, but remember 80% of the referees in Kansas are first-year referees, or 80% of them are first years, and then 85% of them are under 18, right? So there's a reason that they're terrible referees. It's because they're young referees with no experience. But we keep driving them away, which is, continuing this terrible problem. And so eventually you just won't have referees, or you'll have to pay so much for a referee crew that it'll make it untenable. So just something to keep in mind there. I'm going to talk about a new program that I introduced at the rec level because I think you guys need to be aware of it. It's called 6 before 7 and 12 before 10. It's already live on speakasoccerclub.com as of today. It's 12 total technical skills that are foundational. I think that it's a good idea for you guys to judge these while you're going through tryouts this year. Can you do these 6 skills? Can you do these 12 skills based on your age? Because that'll give you a good idea about where your players are sitting. And hopefully as a club, as we continue to move forward, we'll have much more technical players just starting out. So that'll be helpful for everybody. Please become familiar with those. If you have suggestions about other skills that we should be using or why do we use those ones, reach out to me as usual. Coach evaluations is something that we're going to start doing after this season. We'll probably do it after every season or at least once annually. That's the opportunity for the parents to give you guys evaluations, and I think that's a really important thing to do. There's a few reasons why. First of all, in administration, our job is to advocate for the parents. If we were a for-profit business, they would be our customers and you guys would be contractors. And so it's my job to make sure that my contractors are providing the expertise and service that my parents are paying for. Some of these parents are paying, $600 or $700 a year, which is nothing to sneeze at. And so we want to make sure that they're getting a good experience for that money. And one of the things that I'll be doing as I can, continue to evolve the program is giving parents tools to evaluate them, the coaches throughout the season and tell them what benchmarks they should be looking for from a perspective of a college coach or professional coaches and what they look for when they're scouting youth players, just to, educate them, but also to make sure that there's kind of a balance of power throughout the club between the administration, the coaches, and the parents. So remember that when we're doing evaluations, this isn't a if you suck, you're fired kind of a thing. It's the same as players. What we care about is development. Are you developing as a coach? I went to the coaching symposium in Kansas City a couple of weeks ago. I learned a bunch of stuff, and I think back, I was having a conversation with a coach that's old like me. And when I think back about the kind of things that I was coaching and how I was coaching 10 years ago, I'm embarrassed. And I wish I could go back and fix those things, but all I can do is develop and get better and learn those lessons as I go along. So I don't care about results, I care about development, and I think you should too. That goes along with our expectations, but there's also some technical things, right? Attending meetings, I have a pitifully low number of coaches on the call, and I'll be following up with people to make sure that they do watch the video afterwards. I don't expect you to be here live if you can't be. That's, I try to be flexible because we all have lives outside of soccer, except for maybe me. But I do expect you to be engaged and participate in the meetings at some point. We have the expectation of player safety. Obviously, that seems obvious, but it's not just physical safety of making sure they don't get hurt. It's also the emotional safety of making sure they feel safe on the sidelines. They don't feel like you're, traumatizing them, which takes a lot less than most coaches thinks it does. They feel valuable. And, now in the age of pandemics, their health is, they have safe health standards as well. So there's a lot that goes into this, and, you don't get paid much for it, but the privilege is watching young people develop, and having an influence on that. And so you have to take it pretty seriously. Same thing with player development. The chances of you growing a college or professional player are pretty small. College, like if we're talking community college, it goes up a little bit, but even if you look at the rosters of community colleges and D2 and 3 schools in the area, which is the most likely chance that they would go to, half the rosters are filled with internationals now. So what we're really trying to develop is good people in Topeka. And that goes beyond the tactical or the technical, and it goes much more into the psychosocial of making sure that they're healthy, good people that have confidence and can be responsible for themselves and others. And then, again, coach development we've talked about. We're going to get into that a little bit more in a minute. So a lot of serious stuff. I wanted to show you guys what your packet is going to look like in the fall. Got a couple new things from PUMA, which I'm pretty excited about. The bench coat, the bench jacket, it's knee length. I'm really excited about that because I know you guys need one. I got real cold this year, and so you'll have that in the fall. A little, I put the full zip, but it's actually going to be a quarter zip. It's got the white stripes on the side, which is a thing now. I don't know. I'm getting you guys some t-shirts because I know that's been an issue. These are the dry fit, if you want to call them that. They're the ones that I wear a lot. They're 100% polyester with some breathability, a black and a navy blue. And then this gray just cotton t-shirt like the navy one that you got before, but it's gonna have the Top City graphic that I had somebody design based off of the sign that Visit Topeka uses, as well as the club logo on the neck, the back neck. So pretty excited about those. It's another couple $300 worth of gear for you guys. And we had a little bit less to spend this year, so I wish I could give you more, but I did end up buying quite a bit of equipment. So if you need that, let me know. All right, the moment you've all been, I guess, waiting for, I'll give you about 60 seconds or so to write this down or go there on their phones if you want. There's a little coach survey. That's how I'm gauging attendance. If you don't fill this out, then I won't know that you're here or that you viewed this meeting. So just go to tsc1983.com/S21. You'll see about a 5-question deal if you think a goose is a good mascot, but also tell me that you're here watching the meeting. I'll give you just another minute. 3, 2, 1. Hopefully you had a chance to write that down. I'll try to put it in the chat before I leave. If you need it, holler. Okay, so tryouts. I'm going to go through all the stuff just to make sure that you guys have heard it, even though I've already sent this out in an email, but it's very important. We don't want to have any issues with recruiting. So starting February 1st, which has already happened, we can start announcing the tryout dates and locations, which we kind of already have. After the February 14th, we can start holding events, which we will start holding closer to the end of the season. Starting May 15th, we can open up registration for tryouts. That will be open on May 15th for our club. Players may sign up for tryouts if they're seeking an opportunity. If they want to sign up for a tryout outside of their current team, they should not commit or put down a deposit with their current team. Also starting May 15th, so this is similar to what happened last year. Players may declare that they're going to stay with their existing team and may place a deposit at that moment to secure their spot with their team. The team can't sign a deposit from a current or competitive player prior to May 15th. So we won't be doing that. On May 15th, May 15th, we'll open up registration for tryouts. We'll also open up a portal for people to put their deposits down for the 21-22 season. Players will have until June 10th to rescind their commitment, and they'll get their $50 back. We'll talk about that here in a second. Targeted recruiting is a big thing. It cannot occur outside the free agency period, which starts May 15th and goes to July 16th. So don't talk to any other players about, hey, are you looking for a club in the fall until May 15th. And that's 12:01 a.m. on May 15th, okay? Targeted recruiting includes any offers construed as, or even thought of as an official offer from assistant coach, a head coach, a team manager, or even a parent on your team, right? So if they're KSYSA registered and affiliated all with a team, even if that's just as a parent of a player, they can't talk to anybody else about coming to the club. Any recruiting of players to convince them or their parents to move without talking to me first, and that includes players within the club, that's prohibited, and that could result in the dismissal of either the parent or the coach from the club. And there's a reason for that. If you're found in violation of this policy, you will get fined, the club will get fined, and we won't be able to do any recruiting for 6 months. So just don't do it because it's pretty serious. Tryouts for all age groups will begin on June 8th. Ours will begin on Friday the 11th. The club cannot sign or take a deposit from a competitive player that is currently registered anywhere other than their existing club or team. To us, that means club, prior to June 8th. A team or club cannot sign or take a deposit from any recreational player until after tryouts start June 8th, which shouldn't be a problem for us. Everybody will remain a free agent until June 16th, or unless they accept a formal offer, which we'll be doing through a WUFU form, which I'll show you guys. And then they'll have 10 days to rescind the offer if they want to go somewhere else. Okay, so for us, that means the pre-tryout camp is TBD. It'll probably be the first weekend of June or maybe the last weekend of May, just depending on what we can get together. One of the things that's not on here that probably should be is if you're interested or if you can help out at the pre-tryout camp, I don't mind paying you, but let me know as soon as you can that you want to help out with that or you want to help set it up. Tryouts, like I said, is June 11th through the 13th. That's Friday through Sunday. We're going to do a similar kind of grouping to what we did last year with the ages and the format. So everybody's going to be together, and we'll run through, four 4 different kind of sessions and, you know, rotate players around. That's my guess. We're going to advertise as soon as we can that what coaches, age, and division teams we have available and what spots we have. But for me to be able to do that on May 15th, I need to know by probably May 5th or 1st that we're not going to come back next year, or my assistant is going to take over for me, or we're only going to be playing in the fall because half my team is going to be in high school, or whatever it is. I want to split up my team because I have 2012s and 11s. It doesn't matter what it is to me right now. Just let me know what those are before like May 1st so I can build that into our advertisement stuff. We're going to have an online form through WUFU, which is the same thing that you just used to fill out your coach survey, that will offer the acceptance. And that'll also make it so anybody in the community can pay a $50 annual club membership fee. That also will act as the acceptance of an offer as part of the payment scheme for next year. Next year will be a full year registration rather than 2 seasons, which was a huge pain in the butt, as much for me as I'm sure for everybody. And I'm sure your parents and you guys didn't like it. But we set up the registration form a little different and it seems to work better. And then we can do the full year now with Select having its own registration form. So that's what's going to happen. All this stuff is subject to change because we are still changing. There are some big things that could be happening with the Select division. It doesn't really impact you guys directly, but it would impact how we run tryouts directly. So I'll keep you posted as things come up. We're going to have one of these meetings every month. So to keep you guys abreast of changes and things going on. A Fitrition update. I'd love to hear about any experiences that you or your players had with Fitrition when they ran their little winter thing. We're going to send out a survey to the participants, and actually that's going to be whether they're TSC members or not, which I think will be a really interesting thing. I haven't heard a lot, but I'd like to, especially since they want to develop more of a long-term relationship with us. If you have suggestions about that, or really anything, but about Fitrition specifically, reach out to me, or we can talk at the end of the call if you guys want to do it. And then we're probably going to have them run a pre-tryout fitness, like physical specifically camp. I think they're doing something through the spring, but it's probably not the best timing for us to be able to do something with them right now. So we'll just plan on something around, May 15th, May 30th, something like that. All right. Believe it or not, we're actually almost done. So should be out here by like 7:30. Let's look through the coaching education, and there's a reason for this. So most of the club is down here in the Grassroots, and that's okay. But it's important that you have at least the Grassroots for the model that you're coaching, right? So if you are coaching 9v9, then please, I would prefer for you to get the 9v9 from United Soccer Coaches and from US Soccer online at least, which is only 2 hours. So you should be able to knock it out in like a weekend. And then if you pay for it out of pocket, just submit the receipt to me and I'll reimburse you for it. Because, coach development is the most important thing. With that being said, remember that if you're going to play in State Cup or Junior State Cup or anything really outside of a lot of stuff outside of the state, and you're going to have a D license, a national D, and that means you're going to have to do 3 of the game models, 3 of the 4 game models. 2 of them have to be in person, and 1 of those in persons has to be the 11v11. So that's a decent amount of commitment. They say all in, it's probably going to be about 10 or 12 hours with an online and 2 in persons. We are paying for all of that, and then we'll even pay for the D, which is, this is actually wrong now. It's closer to 500 now. So if you're going to play in a state cup, you have to have at least a D, or somebody on your roster does. And so, that's going to take probably close to a year to go through the courses because they just don't open up all that often. The state of Kansas only runs 1 D license a year because it goes over 2 weekends. And with the 4v4, 7v7, all the game model ones, they only do those here twice a year and twice a year in Kansas City. So you're either going to have to travel or, get it done the one time that you have the opportunity. If you want to look through the more advanced stuff, which hopefully some of you do, this is what it looks like. You have to wait a year in between each of the US soccer licenses. I just finished my advanced national, and I'll tell you that's probably one of the best courses that I've ever taken. They also have, I can go back, but they also have a national course, which is, it says residential on 2 weekend, but it's all hybrid right now. It was really good. It's not just how to coach like the U.S. soccer stuff is. It's what to coach and when to coach it. So it's pretty fulfilling, and you still get to meet a lot of good coaches. So that being said, we're holding some grassroots courses for coaches completely free to you. All you have to do is show up. Well, you have to sign up and then show up. But there's only 20 spots per class. That's the 4v4 is March 6th from 9 to 1. The 7v7 is March 6th from 2 to 6. And then the 11v11, which you have to have the in-person of to move on to your D, is March 7th from 12 to 4. So since you only have to take 2 of these in person, I'd encourage you to sign up for 2 of them if you haven't, or just 1 if you want to take just 1. The other big thing is I need demonstration teams still for these courses. So I need a 4v4 team, I need a 7v7 team or 2, and then I need an 11v11 team. And if your team can do that on those times, it's just half the time. So the demonstration team would come from 2 to 4 because 2 hours is classroom. And then it would be 1 hour here and then 1 hour here towards the end. Let me know, reach out to me, let me know. Because I'm going to keep hitting you up. I mean, we have to have those, otherwise we have to cancel the courses. And now just a little bit of potpourri stuff, just random stuff. I would love for you guys, if you want to talk about this after the call, especially since there's not a lot of us, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on how TechMe is going so far. Just a couple sentences of if you like it or not, or if you have a minute, shoot me a text or an email saying this is what I like, this is what I don't like, or this is how we're using it or whatever. I'd love to be able to share that stuff with other teams so we could continue to increase the amount that we're using it. It's becoming more and more popular, which means that I think they're going to add more and more content, which is good. We're going to keep adding some website content. You'll notice that the Select Coaches doesn't have anything right now, but you have your own tab on the new Topeka Soccer Club website for Select Coaches. And I'm going to be putting stuff up about things that happened at the convention, and we're members of United Soccer Coaches, so they send a magazine out called The Journal every couple of months. It has some really, really cool stuff in it. I like to post articles from that on there, some lessons plans or discount codes for equipment, stuff like that. So you might check in on there every once in a while. We'll still get it sent out via email and a newsletter, but you might check out the website when you can. Trainer fees, I need to know if you're charging trainer fees in the spring by Monday, and your roster, or at least what players are not getting charged then would be helpful. And then I'm going to send that out on March 1st. And then if you're going to, okay, we're talking about every trainer charging fees starting in the fall, because it's becoming untenable for some of our coaches to charge fees and some of them to not charge fees. That may not happen in the fall, it may be later, but it needs to happen because it creates some dissonance within the club. And yeah, there are some other issues that go along with it too. I'm happy to have the conversation, or you can come and hang out at a board meeting and have the conversation, but don't be surprised if we start moving towards every coach gets paid and charges trainer fees, because that's how clubs work. You get paid for your expertise. A couple of little housekeeping things, but they are important. If you're the last coach out and you can tell that you're going to be the last one out, please lock the gate. Unless, if there's a staff person there, then fine. But there probably won't be a lot of time because I'm not going to keep working 80 or 90 hours a week. Otherwise, I won't be married anymore. So if you're the last one out, please lock the gate. You don't have to know anything about it other than it's a combo lock, and you just close it and then it's locked. And if you're not going to take your reservation and pick time, if you're canceling practice or you're going to go somewhere else, please let us know, especially if it's on the turf, because I get coaches that are like, who was on the turf last night? Because there's a whole quarter that wasn't being used, and I would have taken it if I had known. And I'd be upset about that too. And you guys, I'm sure, would be upset about it too. So, if you're not going to take it, shoot an email to me or Alyssa or Charlie so we can get it canceled and pick time so somebody else can reserve it. The last thing is hopefully, maybe even by the end of the spring, but certainly, hopefully, certainly my plan is by the beginning of the fall season that we will have an actual director of coaching. So you won't have to listen to me talk to you all the time. You'll have to listen to that person. And I've had some conversations about this, and I'm continuing to have, I guess, what would be called interviews about this, but I'm taking it very seriously, and I think we need to have somebody who's in charge of the select program specifically. If you haven't heard, Jerica Henderson, who is a board member and plays as a parent on Jared Haas's Edge team, she's going to be starting at Sunflower, the TSC full-time, like next week. She's going to be specifically the coordinator for the recreation program. Charlie's going to move into running mini kickers, and we already have Lauren Ewald that runs top soccer. So we really only need one person that can focus their energies on select you folks. And I hope that we'll have that person by tryouts, but certainly before the fall season starts, we'll have somebody. So that is it. And I rushed through this so much today, I didn't even put a question slide. That's how terrible of a director I am. But I'm happy to answer questions for 4+ minutes if you have any. Don't everybody jump at the chance at once. Good information? Anything that you guys didn't know or are worried about?
I have a comment about Fitrition.
Okay.
We've been doing it with mainly my youngest one, but we love it. We've done a 12-week program. We did an 8-week program, and we're getting ready to start another 12-week program next week.
That's awesome. Is that Jack doing it?
Actually, Blaine, my youngest.
Okay, cool.
And then all 3 of them will do the camp during spring break.
Nice. Yeah, so I've heard, I mean, I haven't heard a lot, but what I've heard is that kids seem to like it, and they said they filled up. So I'm guessing it's probably pretty popular.
We really enjoyed it. So
good. It's good to hear. Any other questions or concerns? Well, good enough. Guys, I'm not going to keep you if I don't have to. So I am going to let you go. I'll post this on the website. Please make sure that if you don't see the name of your assistant or coach or parent manager or something, make sure they watch this, because I am going to pay pretty close attention to that. It's not just because I'm a mean bully villain, even though that's partially true. You know, I have legal and insurance liability issues to make sure that you guys are educated. And then obviously with tryouts, you know, we have some issues with the state to make sure that we're not in violation. So I'm one of those guys that is, I want to trust and verify that you guys are getting the information that you need by checking attendance. So if you know that somebody hasn't been on the call, make sure that you tell them to get the video watched, and I'll have it posted on the website tomorrow. So, all right, guys, I'll let you get. Yeah.
Sorry to bother you.
No,
real quick, can you maybe explain why we're going June 11th as opposed to just starting it that Wednesday, or was that Tuesday, June 8th for tryouts? Since
I mean, my only comment there is that I'm fine with whatever, and that's why I said it's subject to change. But my concern was that coaches would have jobs and work, so they wouldn't be able to make the tryouts for teams that they, you know, are going to be looking for players at. So I waited until the weekend. I'm fine with whatever you guys want to do. And if there's a no, let's go ahead and do it June 8th, then I'm fine with that too. Even if there's a, you know, midweek session and then a end of the, you know, a weekend session, we have two tryouts. I'm fine with that too. You know, I do this full time, but I try to be respectful that not everybody has that much time. So.
Yeah, I mean, I completely understand where you come from. I know that there's some people that might have a question about that. So
yeah, I think the other thing, yeah, I appreciate that. I think the other thing is, since we can again this year kind of re-sign players on May 15th, it's probably just filling spots, which we could, you know, I would think could do in the evening of June 8th, 9th, and 10th. But I thought it'd be nice to have a whole weekend, and that's usually when we kind of reconnect as coaches and, you know, hopefully kind of do the beginning of the year stuff right then too. So, but no, that's a good question. Thanks, Nick. I have to say that because you're on the board, but it was a good question. Anything else? All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end the meeting. If you have any other questions, shoot them to me in email, and I will see you guys on the fields.
thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Alex.